Sunday, February 8, 2026. Africans at home and across the global African family, wherever you are watching from, I greet you. I am Thomas Sankara, speaking to you from the United Nations of Africa, a platform dedicated to truth, sovereignty, justice, and the total liberation of our continent. Today I bring before you a grave and historic matter that demands the attention of every African. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now official. All the elements that could lead to a proxy war in West Africa are firmly in place. This situation is no longer speculative, theoretical, or based on rumor. It is unfolding before our eyes. The United States has now confirmed that its military personnel, described as advisors, are operating on the ground in Nigeria. This deployment follows recent deliveries of American military equipment to Nigeria, officially justified as support for counter-insurgency operations. At the same time, it has also been publicly acknowledged that Russian soldiers are present in Niger Republic. Both the Nigerian authorities and the Russian government confirmed this following the successful defense against the January 29, 2026 attack on Diori Hamani International Airport in Niamey. Niger's leadership openly thanked Russia for the professionalism of its forces during that operation. This moment was historic because it marked the first public confirmation that Russian combat troops, not merely advisors, are operating inside Niger and within the alliance of Sahel states. Returning to Nigeria, the US Africa Command has stated that American forces are stationed there for training and intelligence sharing missions. This development carries enormous geopolitical weight because Nigeria and Niger share a land border exceeding 1,500 kilometers. That border is no longer just a geographic line. It has become a front line between competing global powers operating on African soil. Since the July 26, 2023 coup that removed President Mohamed Bazoum in Niger, relations between Nigeria and Niger have sharply deteriorated. Meanwhile, Russia and China have expanded their military and strategic cooperation with the alliance of Sahel states. The United States, after being forced to withdraw from Niger, including from Airbase 101 and Airbase 201, installations that reportedly cost over $110 million, has been searching for alternative routes to restore its regional influence following its final departure in August 2024. Under the current US administration, Washington's messaging has changed. The language of democracy and human rights has been muted. Concerns about Russian and Chinese influence are no longer loudly proclaimed. Instead, influence is being pursued quietly through security partnerships, with Nigeria now positioned as a central base of operations for broader engagement across West Africa. This leads us to a critical and unavoidable question. What does all of this mean for the people of West Africa? We have already witnessed Russia accuse France of supporting terrorism and of being connected to destabilization efforts across the region, including a failed coup attempt in Burkina Faso and the airport attack in Niger. These accusations, whether fully accepted or not, reflect a dangerous reality. Military confrontation in Africa is increasingly being conducted through proxies. The idea of a proxy war in West Africa is no longer hypothetical. The Niamey airport attack, which destroyed several military and civilian aircraft, served as a warning. Reports indicate that the attackers sought to seize more than 1,000 tons of uranium stored near the airport. That objective failed only because of the intervention of Nigerian forces supported by Russian African troops. According to Russian claims, France continues to rely on proxy forces, including insurgent and extremist groups, to maintain influence in its former colonies and secure access to strategic resources. Russia alleges that past counter-terrorism operations were less about eliminating terrorism and more about managing instability, creating chaos, and then offering protection at a price. Whether one accepts these claims fully or partially, they have deepened mistrust across the Sahel. What we now see is a divided region hosting rival global powers. On one side stands the alliance of Sahel states. On the other stands ECOWAS. Nigeria alone represents nearly half of ECOWAS in population and economic strength. With US forces operating from Nigerian territory, Washington gains significant operational reach across the bloc, while France continues to coordinate with Ivory Coast and Benin in opposition to the alliance of Sahel states. This situation places West Africa dangerously close to open confrontation. One diplomatic error, one miscalculation could ignite a wider conflict. Airstrikes, arms transfers, and troop deployments do not exist in isolation. They form part of a broader struggle for influence between global powers competing on African soil. There is growing concern that terrorism is being manipulated to justify renewed foreign military intervention. This pattern, often described as manufactured consent, involves creating or redirecting instability and then presenting external military involvement as the only solution. Africa has seen this strategy before, and the consequences were devastating. The roots of this crisis trace back to the 2011 destruction of Libya. That intervention unleashed weapons, fighters, and chaos across the Sahara and into West Africa. Russia was not part of that operation. The United States and France were. The instability born from that moment continues to haunt our continent today. From a strategic standpoint, it is understandable why many African nations, particularly those within the alliance of Sahel states, find it difficult to trust Western military assistance again. History offers painful lessons, from Angola and Mozambique to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where Africa became the battlefield for foreign rivalries. Today, African leaders face a stark choice: peace or escalation. Warnings issued as early as late 2025 about a black winter descending on West Africa now appear prophetic. Foreign troops stand on opposite sides of fragile borders, and tensions rise by the day. Nigeria's role in this unfolding crisis is especially concerning. Since the current administration took power in 2023, diplomatic decisions have strained relations with neighboring states. Nigeria nearly went to war with Niger and has since entered military cooperation agreements with France, the United States, Israel, and Turkey, transforming the country into a hub for competing foreign powers. History shows where this road can lead. Sudan followed a similar path and ultimately split into two countries. When multiple global powers operate freely within a single state, fragmentation, instability, and loss of sovereignty often follow. There is no natural reason Nigeria should be hostile toward Niger or the alliance of Sahel states. These tensions could have been resolved through diplomacy and African dialogue. Instead, West Africa now faces the real danger of a proxy war driven by external agendas and internal miscalculations. West Africa stands at a crossroads. The ingredients for a proxy war are on the table. The future of the region will depend on leadership, wisdom, and the courage to place African sovereignty above foreign interests. This is not just news. This is a call to conscience. I ask you, invite your families, your friends, your communities, and your networks to join this movement. Share this message across WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, X, and every platform you have access to. Let Africans everywhere hear the truth and speak with one voice. If you believe in African unity, African dignity, and African self-determination, subscribe to this channel, like this broadcast, leave your thoughts in the comments, and share it widely. Your engagement strengthens the movement and ensures that Africa's future is decided by Africans themselves. Africa must never again be a chessboard for foreign powers. Africa must rise, united, conscious, and sovereign. The struggle continues. Victory belongs to the people.